Okay.
Bringing the vision into a mission. This is Global Mission of Peace with the GoldFish Report on November 17th, 2015, and ETs is still not landed on the White House lawn. I'm here with Louisa, our media outreach.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
The wonder from down under, Sanjay.
G'day all. Awesome to see you all.
And the voice of the dragon, the ambassador. Welcome, ambassador.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for greeting me on this day of traumatization. And I was thinking that we will have some little bit discussions today about what's happening around the world, because I think it's quite obvious that's going on, and we would like to talk a little bit about it. Okay, and this is the incident that happened, the terrorist attack in Paris, and now followed with other terrorist activities in Germany, and supposedly it's going to spread all over the world, including Washington, and suddenly, you know, all nations jumping on the bandwagon to bomb Syria. Okay, and the refugee crisis is growing and molting and getting better and better according to the plans of a cabal, and things are just moving on, and the goldfishes are still swimming in the little goldfish ball, and you know, and we wanted to share some little bit photos to start with, to you know, to start discussion with. Okay, so I'm gonna try to share these nice photos with you all. Go through them. This is a very interesting lady. I don't know if you remember her. She was the, you know, the sister of what is his name, Mr. Stevens, that was beheaded by ISIS. Okay, and this is from that interview. Here's from another interview that she was doing. And her again. Well, no, this doesn't want to come up. Here we have a French flag with an airplane. Let's try again. Russian plane, I mean. Sorry, the technical things doesn't work the way it should be. Now let's start again. Here we have it. Okay, and here we have the same lady being traumatized and traumatized and traumatized. And you know, what is quite interesting here is that she was at the Aurora shooting there, she was at Sandy Hook, and she was at the Boston bombings, and now she's in Paris being traumatized at the concert. And the question that I may ask the people, that probably you don't maybe remember this lady, but I think that the world's security services should put all efforts in just following her around, because wherever she goes, you're going to have a major terrorist attack of some form of type. So either she's extremely unlucky person, okay, or she's always at the wrong place at the right time, okay, and even going all over from United States and popping up in Paris, okay. So I think this is a quite interesting thing. And since Friday, we've been having all this different, you know, French color things, support France, support France, support France. And I would like to share this one. I think it's time for us to, you know, give our support and trauma also to the terrorist victims of a, you know, of an airplane bombing against Russia, which has not been, you know, received the same type of commendations or support from the Western world. And now we see that the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization, NATO, is declaring holy war on ISIS. And that's quite interesting, since ISIS was one of their own creations. And I think it's important to put attention to a very important fact here, is that this fight with Syria has two different separate objectives. I mean, one objective is that it's based on the Southern Stream. They want to have gas streams going from Qatar. One group of the cabal wants the Qatar gas to come out to the Mediterranean to the European market. And then you have Iranian-Russian cooperation. We want to draw there a pipeline for Syria out there for the Southern Stream. And in the middle you have, innocent people being bombed, killed, slaughtered. And, the corporates and the different nations is just abusing these people all over the place. And I think needs to be stopped. We needs to be awakened to the fact that we are living in a world where our media is nothing else than a propaganda machine that is there to keep us in constant trauma and constant fear and giving justification to all form of atrocities against people. And, the problem is that we can fight people and kill people and things like that, but it's not going to give a solution. We need to find the solution. How can we change the heart of these particular people, if it's possible? And how to defeat the religious fundamentalists on all sides. You have a Christian fundamentalist on one side. We have the biggest track record of genocide in world history and numerous of wars and killings that they've been behind. And then on the other side, you have the Jewish fanatic people that is also driving on a genocide and warmongering and making problems. And then you have the Muslims that is also jumping on the bandwagon and wanting to, imitate their brothers. And at the same time, doing what they were not supposed to do, is take those Christians and those Jews as friends that conspire. And this is what ISIS and many others have done to fulfill the prophecy in the end times in relation to the Antichrist. Now, all of these three Abrahamic religions wants to fulfill either Bible prophecy or Quran prophecy as one, and they want to do this in the in the way of the religious believing. But I believe that all of these things is just basically an excuse for people, especially for some people, because these people are definitely not religious, to just make money. They make money on the war, they make money on the suffering, and they make money on the gas and all the oil and everything else that they are there to basically just steal from the people. And the people in the middle, the ones being bombarded and slaughtered, no one thinks about them. But we can think and cry out very loud as soon as some white person get killed. And I think this is an amazing hypocrisy. And I think it's time for us to wake up to these facts that, people can say this is a false flag. Even if it's a false flag or not a false flag, we should ask us the simple question. What did this woman do there? Why is she there? How come she's always on the wrong place at the right time? And that's a very important question that people should listen to. And remember that was in the media a few months back, or a year back or something like that, because people have a very short memory. And that's why so many times during the GoldFish report I had to repeat myself over and over and over again, and still some people didn't get it. But we have to continue the struggle, and this struggle is a very hard one. And we need to do our best, basically, to show everyone love, even people that are fundamentalists, and try to do our best we can to make them see that it is a light on the other side, and the darkness and frustration and hate is not the solution. I don't know, anyone else have anything special to share more than what I was stating right now?
Well, I guess in connection to that would be, Sheikh Imran Hussein has recently spoken about, he's trying to clear up some of the record, and part of what that involved was how during a lot of the Muslim aggression in the Middle Ages, he said was not truly Muslim aggression. It was the Ottoman Empire, which happened to be Muslim, but it was really empire aggression of a Muslim affiliated empire, but it was really nothing more than empire being aggressive, and that in many ways the Ottoman Empire gave the Muslims a bad name in history. And I think that sounds right. What do you think?
I believe so too, and I believe that unfortunately, this empire building is the real reason why they have created these religions in the first place too. I do believe that these religions has been, you have, for example, when God showed himself for 300 million people or 3 million people at Mount Sinai. I mean, this is a fact that we cannot take away. And at the same time, we have people that has been following the faith and people that are following the faith being hunted and tormented and harassed through the centuries. But then you have people that use religion as a tool just to brainwash people, and especially this thing that we are Christians, we are Muslims, we are Jews, and then we are fighting about who is right and who is wrong. In reality, we believe in all the same God, just in different ways. So I think that, we need to wage a war in ignorance. I think it's important to continue this faith dialogue that we have been starting with different religions. And unfortunately, it's been hard sometimes to get certain people from different religious groups to come on the program and talk openly. I don't know if it's because of fear or what's the reason, but I hope that we're going to have some good guests that are going to be able to give some more clarity in the future to what we want to do.
And on another, as far as the refugees, some of the reading I've done in recent weeks, I guess about 3 weeks ago, which would be, almost like 5 or 6 weeks into the Russian campaign in Syria, as much to as 800,000 people had returned to Syria. I read just last week that 1 million people have returned to Syria with the kind of the peace or the lack of terrorism that is now happening since Russia has gotten truly aggressive with with the people making trouble in that sovereign nation. And that's another thing that I think gets dropped out too much, is that Syria is a sovereign nation, and the only armies that belong in a sovereign nation, unless you've declared war against that nation, are armies that have been invited in. I think Russia is doing a remarkable diplomatic job of allowing the United States to do things that are in many ways are a little bit on the illegal side as far as international law goes with what they're doing in Syria, because I guess what they're saying is, okay, you don't really belong there, but if you're conducting activities that are helping the terrorism problem or the ISIS problem, then we won't nitpick. We make a comment here, we make a comment there, but we're not going to blow this up. And another interesting thing with Russia actually doing something positive there is that because Russia engages in what's known as realpolitik, where, of course, what's good for the sovereign nation of Russia is part of their calculations. Certain people are actually saying Putin's just another NWO guy playing the game because people have emotional needs, that he should bomb every single person that they think needs bombing. So it's really interesting to see how, you have on one side, you have the really anti-Putin people or anti-Russian people on who they can't do anything right. And then you have people who might actually support Putin, but right now they're against him because he's not doing every aggressive thing that they think that he should do. It's just a sign of that cognitive dissidence. And it seems like unless you fulfill people's emotional needs, they don't see the bigger picture.
Brother
I wanted
Rodriguez?
to.
Yep, go, Louisa.
It's okay, Sanjay, you could go.
Yep. Just going on from where you're going, Brother Rodriguez, with this whole thing with Syria, as we've talked about, Ambassador said it and you've said it, the people, in this French attack, they haven't found the people, but they found Syrian passports, which another organization from the NATO has proven that it's fake. So we've got to stop and think. And I put this on Facebook yesterday. The French president says that ISIS is behind this attack in France. Now, if you go back in time to just about a year or so, France and America were the ones openly said they were training the people in Jordan as the rebels for Assad. So 1 minute, France and America are training these terrorists, and next minute, these terrorists are bombing France. So who is the real terrorist here? The people that are actually in front with the guns, or the people that are behind them giving them the guns? This is a question that everyone needs to ask themselves. Since openly we know America has admitted that they have trained so-called moderate terrorists. Now, as Putin says, what is a moderate terrorist? A terrorist is a terrorist, isn't it? So this is what we need to stop and look at, right? And the passport thing is a very funny thing that I find, like this girl that appears, and I put it again on Facebook today, that if you see this girl coming towards you, please run, children, right? Run as far as you can, because something bad's about to happen. It's either she's the most unluckiest girl in the world, or she's the luckiest jinxed girl in the world, because everyone else around her seems to die, but she survives every time. Doesn't matter what country, if it's Sandy Hook, or is it Boston bombing, or is it French, you know? And she's also the sister of the brother that got beheaded. So, I mean, hello? And she's just in that shot that the ambassador showed. The same girl has two different names. So we got to start questioning the news.
Very good, Sanj. And, this picture that I'm screen sharing is a very good point that, these are the most indestructible, items on the planet, these passports, because they're always found near a dead body, no matter, even a suicide bomber. Of course, the passport's intact. So it's amazing how incredibly strong. And I love this on our GoldFish Report Facebook page. So I want our viewers to know, become familiar with our Facebook page. So these are the kinds of things that we post on our Facebook page. It's the kind of research that we do to report our stories on. So you can always follow us on Facebook. And also the comments from our viewers are always very interesting. We have people who are making comments here regarding the terrorist attacks. It's pretty well, people are pretty well aware that this was a false flag. Large emergency exercise took place on the very same day in the city by this gentleman, Adolfo, who's posted on our site. This was also the case in the previous false flag attacks. And also, we also know, and on our GoldFish Report Facebook page here, we can see that this was all, apparently, this is alleged, that this was already reported on Wikipedia before it happened. So, and Twitter before it happened. I don't know about Wikipedia. I think that the Twitter one might be reported beforehand. I know that Wikipedia, it was also reported that Wikipedia had a very complete, detailed account of what happened 2 hours after the attacks supposedly happened. So just so our viewers understand, we do the best we can to vet the sources that we use for the GoldFish Report, but like any other news agency and any news organization, there's really no way to be 100% accurate unless you're standing there yourself. So we do our best to report accurate information, but we also want to make it very clear that we don't present these topics because we don't endorse everything that our guests say. We just want to present their story and present their point of view, and we want to challenge your view of reality and how that might change your view of reality. We don't do in any way. We don't mean to mislead anybody, and we try our best to vet the sources that we can. We do use the most reliable sources that are available. So I thought it was important to mention that because we do get other comments, and we do like to share your comments on our GoldFish Report. So please keep sharing your comments with us, and also I like that people sometimes send me messages with news stories. So that's also nice. So you can keep doing that, and we'll post your story if we can back that up in some way. And we also see here something very unusual where we see Henry Kissinger, who is suggesting, it's reported by RT.com, that the West should work with Russia against ISIS, which seems to be a very big change in direction. And I don't know if the ambassador wants to comment on that, but it seems like a big change for Henry Kissinger.
I think that he, and you saw also that Bill Gates had to go back to China to meet with President, I think that all of these people know that the time for remittance surrender is here. And the only way for them to redeem themselves, be a part of the future, is to submit themselves. And I recommend all of us to do the same. It's time to pivot right, pivot to the east, okay? Stop this aggression, remit and surrender, and do what's right for humanity, okay? There's no more time for these games. The North Atlantic terrorist organization need to be dissolved, okay? And we cannot just buy into all this nonsense the security services putting on our plates and basically allowing, millions of people being displaced and killed over the world for a bunch of lies. We need to wake up as humans, get out of the goldfish bowl, and make a step. I saw also it was a lot of things that came against Van Amenes that they were doing, things that was very suspicious these last days. And you have to realize that most of these organizations are disinformation organizations or organizations working for some other agencies, and or sometimes maybe be even hijacked by other agencies. And they just say it's anonymous, and the real anonymous maybe is being hijacked. But it's very important to investigate what you hear, take it to your heart. Don't buy into all this rubbish that is shown on the media. And it's like I was watching this documentary, like a speech from one of the new women at the Blaze show, some blonde lady. She was talking, and you could hear on the level of how plain ignorant this woman is, and she's reading from the TV prompter, and it's saddening. And what the goldfishes is eating it all up, okay, and it's a form of sexism. You understand? A woman should be cherished for her knowledge, not just that it's good enough that it's a blonde woman, almost half naked, can say a few words that we should celebrate like it's an amazing feat. And this is actually, discrimination against women, I think. And I think it's important for us to wake up and stop being so extremely gullible in our societies. And I saw today another man who was sentenced to lifetime in prison. This person was most likely innocent, and I will start investigating that case also and see what we can do to save this person. I have no connections to this man, but seeing how the court has been run and how the whole investigation is done is under our critiques. But the media, they don't care. They just want blood. They just want sensational media to be out there. They just want to traumatize and scare people and make money. And this is something that is not correct. And we need to do something to put a stop for it. And I really hope that this week will be a good time for the GoldFish report. Unfortunately, last week was very hectic for all of us. And I don't know when that transcript of the interview between me and Cobra will be published. But I hope people will like it when it comes. And, and I hope that this week will be a good week with more new coming guests. And I would like to thank for today. Today is a shorter GoldFish report where we just share our feelings and attentions to what's been happening during this weekend. And may God bless the people's families that were traumatized over this and give them comfort. And I hope these people that was innocently killed will be with the Creator in heaven. And I don't believe that anyone is deserved to be slaughtered and killed in any fashion. We need to put a stop for this terrible crimes and ignorance. And with that, I will say from my side that God bless you all and thank you for this GoldFish report.
Well, one of the other things that we're reporting on our GoldFish report is an update from Corey Good, an interview actually with Corey Good and George Norrie, who is the host of Coast to Coast, which is a very popular radio show, which most people know about. And it's very interesting because, as the ambassador was saying, there's a lot of disinfo out there, and there's so much questions, even Cobra, even Simon Parks, everybody. There's so many questions as to the authenticity of the statements that these people are making, especially Corey Good. He's coming out with the Guy MTV with David Wilcock. And one of the most important things that I saw from this recent transcript, which you could find on our Facebook page, has to do with really the whole secret, kind of what's behind the false flag operation. And it's all about consciousness, because here's a question. I just want to show and share one question and answer from this transcript. George Norrie had asked, I know a lot of secret military people and they're good soldiers. They're dedicated Americans. If they heard this, they would want to stop immediately. They would weigh, where do I sign up? Where do I go to war to protect this country from these intruders? How do we stop it? So I think he's referring here, let me just back up, that he was referring to the I think off-world entities called the Blue Avions, and then there's some other maybe off-world entities that supposed to be part of a disclosure process that's supposed to be ongoing. There's clearly delays in this process. I think we all know that there's supposed to be a change over in humanity, as the ambassador talks about the 555. It's taking a very long time. But Corey's answer is very interesting. It's an excellent question, and that's exactly where this is leading with the Blue Avions. People have been asking, why aren't these higher density beings? Why don't they just come down and save us? And, well, the sad reality, and what people don't like to hear, is they're creating a situation to where we have to save ourselves. And one of the biggest secrets that's been kept from all of humanity is the power of our consciousness. Our consciousness has a co-creative mechanism to it. All of light, energy, matter, they're all different states of vibration. And consciousness, especially us, as we become together with our group consciousness and focus on one outcome, and use love as a trigger for that consciousness, we can change our reality with our co-creative consciousness abilities. And that is what is going to make the changes. It's not going to be ETs coming out of the sky to overthrow the cabal. And the reason I'm sharing this is because this is really extremely significant. And we know that recently Simon Parkes conducted a meditation at CERN, or for CERN, not at CERN, but for CERN, at the time that it was supposed to start up. And the collective consciousness of the people who were doing the meditation had an impact. And there was probably other divine intervention as well involved in that. I don't think CERN really was ever meant to function. But we are going to talk about that more in upcoming GoldFish reports. So definitely stay tuned to follow those conversations. But the whole concept of consciousness and our co-creative ability is what's being manipulated here by these false flag attacks, because on a collective consciousness level, it traumatizes everybody and keeps people in a lower vibration. And there's something, I don't know the name of it, but this negative energy that people kind of ooze when they're traumatized is what these black magicians feed off of. So these black magicians are really controlling this. They're manipulating our reality, and they really feed off of this this negative energy. So they know collectively that if we are all negative and we're all in fear, that we'll have a different result to the planet, as opposed to being collectively positive, collectively loving, and forgiving. So this is what these false flags are about. This is what the war is about. This is really the secret that we need to learn and understand so that we can overcome this on a global scale. So that's what I wanted to share about that, so that people could really understand that, as one of our contributors to our previous GoldFish reports, Bo, who is a theta healer, she has indicated that we have to be impeccable with our thoughts, because our thoughts are co-creative. And so when our thoughts are negative, even if it's a false flag, they're, and all the flags of Paris being displayed everywhere, but the Palestinians, don't get the flags. The people in Libya don't get the flags, and it just seems, not really proportionately. It's not egalitarian in terms of our compassion and camaraderie with everyone else in the world. So having said that, I just wanted to also mention something I said in the last GoldFish report, was that that we create these borders in our own mind of religion and nationality, when when you take those borders away, we're one, and we have so much more in common, and we don't have the need to have to hate and to fight with one another if we're all the same. So having said that, I wanted to see if anyone had any comments on that subject. Yeah, Sanjay.
With regards to this, I think what we need to realize, right, is we seem to, whoever the media favors is where the whole focus shifts. Like when there was people dying in Syria, but the focus went to that poor boy on the beach. Right? Over here, what the nations need to do, like the NATO or whatever you want to call them, they created Iraq. Iraq is not fixed. They do not need to go to Syria where they're not invited. They were invited to Iraq. They need to fix Iraq. If they fix Iraq and Russia fixes Syria, the ISIS problem is finished. As Rediger said on the sovereign nations, a sovereign nation does not have clear sovereignty if its borders are not secured. And you can't secure the border for Syria if America and France keep coming and bombing the crap out of innocent people, right? Because, France did all the raids in the night as a reaction to the terrorist attack. That clearly shows that it's a false flag, that they had to create this terrorist attack so they have a right to go to war with Syria on ISIS. But there's ISIS also in Iraq. So what's to prove that it wasn't the ISIS that they created in Iraq that did this? Or there's ISIS also in Africa. Why is it the special one in Syria that they just go and bomb the crap out of and create more refugees? So it is
indestructible passports.
Well, yeah, if you look at the indestructible passport, the Americans need to remember the Twin Towers. The planes disappeared, the towers disappeared, it went to dust, yet passports were found. So these passports are bloody brilliant. And as our sister said that we are not there ourselves, I think we need to send an invitation out to that lovely lady that is the luckiest person or unluckiest person. She seems to be everywhere. She can become a GoldFish reporter. Maybe she can take us straight to the front and get us the truth.
Thanks, Sanjay. Radagast, did anyone have any final comments? I know there's some announcements to make. I'm sorry, I didn't. Did you have anything else to finish, Sanjay?
No, it's okay.
Well, to me, the irony is they did find a passport at 9/11. It was a Saudi passport, but they didn't go bomb Saudi Arabia. So now that they found a Syrian passport, they're going to bomb Syria. I'm trying to follow the logic. Again, they found Saudi passports. First, Afghanistan got bombed, and then Iraq got bombed, even though none of their passports are found. This time, they found a Syrian passport, and they want to use that as an excuse. So there isn't even a clear line of logic. Right. And as far as this for an announcement, the Global Mission of Peace is very pleased to announce that we're having a gathering. We're encouraging this in a lot of places, but this will be the first kind of open to the outside gathering, because we've been having inside gatherings that have gone very well and have cemented us very, very powerfully. The last one, well, actually, we just had one out on the West Coast, but just a little over a month and a half ago or so, or at the end of September, we had our very, very successful gathering at Luis's house, where we kind of chased away. That was a very interesting. The weekend after is when the campaign in Syria began, and we had no idea that was coming up. But we're having a Global Mission of Peace gathering in the Philadelphia area. Lucy and Mary Beth, who you might know from being affiliated with us, and also they're friends of Charlotte. They were part of the Yes Ladies seminars or workshops. But they're having their new paradigm gathering in the Philadelphia area. It's on December 6th, and you can register for it in the next day or so. By tonight, we should probably have it finished at cbcglobaleducation.com, where you can register for the new paradigm gathering on December 6th. And it's It's about empowerment, and it's also about getting out of our computer chairs and finding a way to find those voices that we like a lot on the net, and finally seeing what they look like and being able to get close enough to them to look them in the eye. And very often it happens in these gatherings. There's a lot of hugging that goes on. And when you finally get a chance to hug somebody, they become very real. When I finally got a chance to hug Louisa, she became very real and very important in my life. And so I highly recommend finding excuses to go out and meet people of like mind and get out there and hug them.
Thanks, Radagast. And I wanted to remind our viewers to follow us on thegoldfishreport.com. And if you have, you can always go to globalmissionofpeace.com to learn more about what we do. And also, like Radagast said, you can go to cbcglobaleducation.com and register for the symposium, which you can join us for once a week on Wednesday nights, where you can ask the ambassador questions yourself. So you can do that, and you can also register for workshops for creating business plans and presenting your project to the ambassador. And we want to thank our viewers for joining us, and we want to thank you for your comments and your questions. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.